Right, welcome everyone. Episode 40 of the Centre Circle podcast. I know 40's gone around quick, innit? 40. Little milestone.
10 away from the big 5-0.
Yeah, that's the little celebration. Have a little drink.
You have to do something for it. Yeah, definitely.
Right, on hosting duties today, you got myself, Keith.
Isaac.
And got a little special guest in the building.
You want to gas him up?
I won't guess him up. Got Adrian in the building today. How you doing, Adrian?
Mr. Locksmith.
We call him the Locksmith.
What's that name?
Well, nothing much is happening, Just honoured to be here, be part of it.
Okay. Just fill us in. Who's your team?
So my team's Arsenal.
Oh God.
Yeah, another Arsenal fan on here.
No. Can't get rid of them. So, right, we're just going to touch on the Premier League games that have happened over this weekend. Have a quick review of the Champions League and European games that took place last week. Have a little forward look to the fixtures coming up next weekend in the Premier League and touch on the announcement that came out today about the new format of the Club World Cup. So yeah, before we get into it, just want to say thank you for all the likes, subscribes, listen. Please keep it up because the engagement really helps with us. So yeah, keep those likes, subscriptions, comments going. Right, let's get into it. Arsenal 2, Brighton 1.
Mm-hmm.
So with this result, Arsenal go back to the top of the league.
By a point now, isn't it? Yeah, point between them and us.
Yeah,
and
no, it wasn't 2-1. It was 2-0, wasn't it?
Yeah,
2-0.
My apologies.
Where did that come from?
Like asleep last night, watching the boxing and the UFC.
Yeah.
My apologies. So I didn't see the game today. Any of you watched the game? Or catch the highlights?
Caught some of it.
Caught some of it, yeah. I caught some of it. To be honest, not my bag.
So I was keeping up to date with it with the messages in the WhatsApp group. 0-0 at half time. Arsenal had a few chances.
Yeah.
A few people are like, could be a bit tricky, but others were a little bit confident that Arsenal would see it through out. How were you thinking?
You know what? It's been, I think I was speaking to my friend last night about it and was looking at the results and they've beaten us like the last 3 games at the Emirates.
Right.
So it was a tricky game, but I think they've had some injuries that was in our favour. But what I did see of the game, we dominated today. We totally dominated that game. It should have been 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We had loads of chances. They couldn't get out of their half.
So
is that what you thought? Because when I was watching, it looked scrappy. It looked a bit back and forth.
No, what I saw and what I was at, when they were trying to play out, Saliba and Gabriel were so high up, like they had so much confidence in their pace to recover if they needed to, that they blocked out the attack and they would intercept or make it be a long pass and it goes straight through to Raya.
Is that confidence in their ability to recover, or is it the fact that they don't think Brighton have enough to cause them a problem so they can now push forward?
No, I think it was confidence in the ability to recover because who they got on the wing? I'm going to say his name wrong.
Matoma.
And then
who was on the other wing?
So they started with 4 at the back. They had 2 holding with Gross and Gilmore, and they had Adingra and Matoma essentially on the wings.
Okay.
So let's pace it outlet, and Evans is a big.
He can be a target man and then allow them to. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Fair enough. From what I saw, Arsenal looked the dominant team, but it wasn't dominant in the sense of it's all one-way traffic. It looked like at any moment Brighton could hit you on the counter. Now, the only thing with Brighton that I noticed is in particular, Lallana seemed to have a bit of bite about him.
Mm-hmm.
Kept going in for like leaving a bit on players.
Yeah.
Milner looked a little sloppy, which was quite surprising.
Expected.
It just looked from the moments that I saw quite a bit scrappy. So I'm surprised to hear you say that it was in fact just all one way.
Yeah, and what Arsenal done really well today was their press. Their press was really structured, really organised. They went man for man and they suffocated the option.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made him go long. But like I said, Gabriel or Saliba would just pick it up, pick off Evans. And I think the person I was concerned about was Ben White. But he done okay.
Why would you be concerned about Ben White?
I think Matoma getting at him but he never got the chance to get at him.
Yeah.
I think he had one opportunity, two opportunities in the game, and both times he did get past it. I think he got fouled once by Ben White. Ben White pulled him back, and then the second time he got at him and got a cross in.
Okay.
Oh, is that when Gross nearly scored?
Yeah.
Make it 1-1. Yeah. So yeah, other than that, there wasn't many Brighton chances.
No.
So
And I think if you look at the stats, again, corners, shots on target, off target, should I say?
So Brighton actually had more possession, but Arsenal had 26 shots compared to their 6, 9 on target compared to their 1, 10 corners compared to their 1. So yeah, it's quite dominant. And those who listen to the pod regularly will know that Daz has been quite vocal about Arsenal performances this year, saying that they haven't been good enough, etc. He actually messaged in the group saying it's the best he's seen them play. So
I'm surprised. It's mad that he's saying that Arsenal are not playing well, but United are playing well.
Yeah, that is very true. But I think he's looking at last season, innit? So
Of course.
The bells and the whistles of
As an Arsenal fan, at this point of the season, what does this win represent for you, for Arsenal? What do you think it represents?
I think that's a tricky question because we're near enough around the same point margin as last season.
So you're 4 points worse off than last season, actually.
So we're 4 points worse off. But I think it's more about what does the performance look like.
Okay.
And it's like, even against Aston Villa, even though we lost that game, actually we nullified Aston Villa. Again, we didn't take chances. We had chances to equalise. We had chances to take the lead. We're showing like we're starting to control the game so much more than what we did before. And I think this game again kind of demonstrated actually we're taking full control of the game. The way we're pressing, like Rice, the way he anticipates the danger, which is so key. He gets a little touch on, which deflects it to Saka or Ben White or Odegaard or Saliba. It makes such a difference. We are missing Partey because I think if we bring Partey back in, or when he's fit and comes back in, I think there's going to be games that we're going to dominate even more.
So if Partey comes back in, do you play Odegaard, Rice, Partey, or does Kai get dropped? Because Kai's actually in a bit of good form right now in that middle three. So what is it? Partey's an option off the bench now, considering how well Rice is doing.
I think Partey would have to be an option off the bench, but then it does give us the option of actually we can push Kai up and then take full control of the middle and utilise his height in certain games.
So drop Jesus.
Drop it. Yeah, drop him. Certain games where we need that height and physicality against the back line. Even though Jesus is physical, I think that makes a small difference sometimes.
But it's interesting you say Jesus, because since he came out and said,
I don't score goals. I'm not in the business of scoring goals.
Or it's not my strong point. I think he's actually scored in every game since he said that. So he actually got a goal today. Came in from a corner, and he was unmarked at the back post. It's quite sloppy as far as Brighton are concerned. And then, as I just mentioned, Kai Havertz got the second goal, who's in a rich vein of form in terms of goal scoring. There's a lot of scrutiny on him and his performances up until, I'd say, the last international break. I think since the international break, he's been a bit of an integral part of the team. I think his performances have improved. I wouldn't say they're stellar in terms of he's been head and shoulders above everyone else in the team, but kind of getting up to speed from where he was, I think it's quite good.
What about Brighton? Other flip side of the coin. How is this a dent in their running? Do they still look like they're capable of regaining Europe again?
I think they do. So for me personally, I've said that Brighton are going to be a team who will go on and win 2 or 3 games on the bounce, and then they'll lose one, lose 2, etc. Because if you look at the league table, they're 9th with 26 points.
Exactly.
Tottenham are 5th with 33 points. So it's not a
massive spread.
It's not a massive spread.
And
you can
injuries as well.
And you can easily see Brighton going on a 2-3 game winning streak and then being in the mix.
Okay, so the reason why I asked that is because they've now got Europe to contend with, right? European games, and they're not playing small boys. They're not playing like just something from the mountains of the Eastern Europe. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're playing Marseille. They're playing big teams, like very well-known teams. Then on top of that, we're now running into what we have that no other league has, is the December congestion. And like you said, they've got injuries.
But
does this, these are the kind of games they kind of need the result.
The rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think with De Zerbi, he's not afraid to tweak it and make a change for certain games.
He rotates a lot.
And I think that's the difference between. I think it was that. I think he's made 67 changes.
Damn.
Something around that. It's high. And I think that's the difference between him and Howe. Howe's chances, his choice has been taken away from him somewhat.
We'll come on to Newcastle. I'm going to debate that a little bit. Yeah.
And I'm with you. However, De Zerbi will tweak the formation.
Yeah.
Like he was playing gross right back in a couple of the games. He's played in wing back. So he's not afraid to say, all right, for this game, I'm going to set up this way. And I think that's what's going to get him through and help him have a good chance at getting back into Europe again.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would even say that their group has finished and they're still within touching distance of European places within the Premier League. So I think they've shown that they're able to kind of play the Thursday, come out. I'm not sure what their record is with playing Thursday and then what their Premier result is on the Sunday. But they've shown that they can juggle it and that they're still able to compete at the highest level in the Premier League doing that. So so it's a good win for Arsenal. I think going into the game next week, we'll cover that a bit later on, but that's going to be a bit of a massive game. It's not often you get first v second playing in the Premier League. But I would say that Arsenal would be pretty confident going into that game. Would you say so?
You know what? You would say so, but I think we're still learning as a squad. Like last season was a big learning curve, so hence why we're changing the way we've played a little bit. Like we're looking at controlling the game a little bit more. I think there's still going to be a bit of nerves that comes into that game, and it's going to make it a tricky game. So like a draw will be a good result, a win would be an excellent result. You know?
Really?
Yeah, I think.
Don't think it would be a draw? A win would be a good result, and a battering would be an excellent result.
You know what it is? It's about how I remember all the big games is like, all right, you take a point off your rival. You don't lose to them. You take a point off of them. You understand? And that was the big thing. You take a point off of them. And that was Jose's thing. All right, if I get a point, the win's the bonus. You understand? But I'm going to make sure you don't beat us. And I think that's what we're trying to do. Make sure we're like become difficult to beat and we get that point off of Liverpool.
So it'd be a bit similar to when Liverpool got a point at the Etihad a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. I was happy with that because, like you say, go to one of your rivals who you think you're going to be challenging league for, getting a point from them, it wouldn't be a bad result. Arteta, there's been a bit of media hype around him of late. Obviously, the rant he went on after the Newcastle game, he escaped a ban from that.
Yeah.
Did you hear the reasoning?
The whole language barrier.
The language barrier. It's fine. I thought it was quite an ingenious way to get out of that. But he got cautioned again today. Do you think? I don't want to say. Do you think the FA or the referees have got it out for him? But do you think the referees or the FA?
He's making a rod for his own back, isn't he?
I agree.
The more you come out and talk about them, the more they're gonna go, we don't like.
The small margin.
Yeah. Exactly. And we get it. You're frustrated. The decisions are not going your way. Come on, bro.
Well, like today, the yellow card he got, when I watched it, he was flashing, he's insinuating for the yellow. He's going like, yellow. And then he realised what he was doing, so he started shaking his hands. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Of course
he waving his hands like,
he said he was waving at one of the players.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
So I was like,
exactly. It's in the rule book. You're not meant to do that. If you do that, you get booked.
Technically, Matoma should have got a yellow, and the ref let it go. Because when Ben White pulled him back, he turned around and went like that to the ref.
Yeah, they're not consistent with that.
Because I've seen it a few times in a few games, and the players are getting off with it.
Because that's why players are still doing it, because they know they might not get booked for it when they should do. But I think it's interesting. I think the officials are kind of, back in the day when Ferguson could just say anything. I think now they're just like, well, that don't happen no more.
Well, we'll get onto that. We'll get onto that in the Liverpool United game.
I think the officials are like Roy had a go at the officials. The Man City game. No, not the Man City game. Liverpool game.
Yeah, but that was polite though, wasn't it?
No, but when I listened to what he said, I said, actually, you're kind of. And then De Zerbi going at them.
Oh,
and,
about the percentage.
and then Silver went at them
Yeah.
as well. Silver went at them yesterday for the card, the red card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they are a lot more vocal. So yeah, Arsenal end the weekend in top spot after an impressive victory. So yeah, let's see how it shapes out running up until Christmas. Game 2, Manchester City 2, Palace 2.
Boy, I mean, I'm not as eager to say the wheels are falling off just yet, like you are.
I'm not saying the wheels are falling off.
Because this is City. And I'm still very, very mindful of the fact that they've got the Club World Cup about to kick off for them.
Mhm.
It's already in full flow, but for them, it's about to kick off. And then on top of that, they've got to come back to their fixture congestion. And on top of that, we all know what City get like. And De Bruyne's still got to come back. So I'm not ready to say, oh, this is it for City. I'm going to wait until the end of January and see where we are.
Do you think, when I'm looking at them at the moment, why there's a lot of, I'm hearing the murmurs of reservations about them going for the fourth now. And I was looking at the squad today, and in particular, one player being missing, or two players being missing. One was sold, which is Palmer.
Yeah.
And then obviously De Bruyne is injured.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other thing I looked at, only today though, Zinchenko. And what I mean by that is they've gone very narrow now as a team. So when you look at, like, if Doku's in, then that's a bit of width. But when you look at their fullbacks, apart from Walker, the rest of their fullbacks ain't giving them no real width.
And to be honest, they're not really, on the left side, they're not really fullback. Because they've been playing Vardio as left back.
Because they sold Angelino.
Yep.
And then they let Zinchenko go.
Yeah.
And then they've also got, what's his name, out on loan, Canelo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though Canelo will come inside, he's a bit more of a ball player. When you look at the fullbacks, the ones that are playing left back, they're not as much as...
Are we letting that one slide? You said it twice.
It's all right, man. It's fine.
What's that?
It's a debut. It's a debut.
He said it twice. Are we letting it slide?
It's all right, man. It's all right.
I'm joking.
So yeah, for me, as I said, I don't think they're going to roll over as many teams as they have done previously.
Yeah.
And I just think that's more, not because of their drop, I just think their elevation in the other teams around them. So Arsenal, Liverpool, even Aston Villa. So I think as we go into like the latter part of the season, there's going to be teams that are more up for the fight against Manchester City. So if you take yesterday, for example, Manchester City go 2-0 up. I thought the first goal was really good. The pass from Foden to Grealish was it was tidy, very tidy. Grealish slots it in, makes it 1-0 at half time. Going to the second half, Lewis makes it 2-0. And generally, or normally, you'd think game done, innit? Like, it's Man City at home. I know Palace have got a decent record there in the last couple of years, etc. I don't always kind of buy into that. But you'd think, oh yeah, game done. But what I've noticed from City, they are giving up chances a lot more than what they have done in previous seasons. So, and not only giving up the chances, the team's actually scoring. Yeah. So you look at the first goal that they concede, Schlupp gets the ball and he just makes a break down the City right-hand side, crosses it in for Mateta, easy goal. And even the equaliser, it's just sloppy. Yeah. Sloppy play from Manchester City. Ball breaks. I'm not sure who won the penalty. I can't remember.
Mateta.
Mateta.
Yeah.
That wasn't a pen.
Pardon?
That wasn't a pen.
It was a pen. That was a pen.
Right. Well, maybe, okay, all right. It was a pen, but it's the way he was like rolling around.
No, going to roll around, but it was full contact.
What Foden was rolling around to try and make out that Mateta had, when he blatantly kicked him.
Oh,
and yeah, to be fair, it's a bit of a pressure penalty from Elise, 93rd minute, I think it was.
Yeah.
95th minute. Away at City, scores the penalty. I just think, I don't think it's just going to happen to City. I just think across the league, we're going to see teams dropping points. And I don't think
teams drop points every year. That's a given. But in what manner or what fashion? Like in the case of like they're up and then they just fall apart, or Like today with Liverpool United, I think that was anticlimactic. Everyone just assumed Liverpool was going to win, and then boom, you know, what sense? Because teams lose points every year. That's nothing new.
No, but I think previous years it was like the amount of games they lost was a lot less. Like it looks like everyone's going to be losing around the 5-6 game mark this season. Like I'm in the top 4 in particular, where before it might be 3 games. Now it's like everyone's going to be losing, and there's going to be quite a few shocks. I think Luton's going to hurt a few teams at their ground.
Yeah, like I say, I think the fear factor's gone in it. I
Okay.
think you can get at them, because if you look at their team that they played yesterday,
and it was a patched up Palace team, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, pretty much. So the defense was all Walker, Diaz, Ake, Vardio. As I said, for the amount of money they paid for Vardio and the reputation that he came in with, granted, he played the majority of the games at centre
What did you say, Bins, in the group? This is why you don't
Can't remember now.
buy players based off the World Cup.
Ooh. It's true though.
But to be fair, he had a bit of a rep going into the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. And then, not that Lewis is not a good player, but having Lewis next to Rodri for the money that Man City are spending their squad, etc., you'd think someone with a little bit more to them than Lewis would be playing. And obviously Haaland's out, Alvarez up top. So, granted, they're not at full strength, but yeah, I guess, I think it'd be interesting to see how City go on. I know De Bruyne coming back is going to be like massive for them.
Massive.
And going to have an impact. But as I said at the start of the season, he's aging. He's coming off the back of a big injury. He might not hit the levels that we know or he wants.
As long as he's 80% of his usual, that's still quite a high level.
And there's one more player that I don't think he's getting the system yet. But once he gets it, it's Nunes.
Nah.
No, I'm like, bruh.
Nah.
I don't know if
I think that's a
he's
bust.
ready.
I think that's a bust.
You think that's a bust? I don't think that's a bust. I think there's a player in there.
You think so?
Yeah, I remember watching for Wolves.
Because even Pep's already had a few murmurs about him.
I don't
had
know.
a few digs.
Yeah, he's had a few digs about him. So
he's done that historically with loads of players, and then they've produced for him.
Nah, not really. When Pep has a dig at a player, they don't last. They don't last.
Yeah.
I think it was Yaya at Barca.
Yep.
Got rid of him.
Yeah.
And Seydou Keita took his place. And then not long after, Seydou Keita was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we've seen with City, it's been quite a few players.
Yeah, quite a few, man.
Quite a few players. We saw him when he first came in, Hart out the door.
Oh, yeah.
Baggerman out the door. Bayern, Thiago was...
This is it. Just touching on Crystal Palace. So, I saw them against Liverpool last week, and I thought they were really good, really organised. I think their centre-back combination of Anderson and Gay is a really good combination. I think Gay is a really good defender. I think Southgate needs to trust him a little bit more going forward. Don't know if that will happen, but that's another conversation. Richards, who's been playing in midfield for them.
Omar Richards.
Huh?
Omar Richards or different Richards?
I don't know his first name. Sorry, bro.
Is it the American Chris?
So I was chatting to my Crystal Palace supporting friend, and he said
Richards, the American.
He's naturally a centre back.
Yeah,
who's been playing in midfield.
Yeah,
and I think he's been doing a decent job,
yeah.
like for essentially playing out of position. I don't know where he played as a youth player, etc.
He played a couple games for Palace, I think, last season at centre back, and he had a good time. So yeah,
he's
not surprised.
He's doing really well. Obviously Elise and Mateta doing the job. I think Roy Hodgson said he's not going to manage beyond this season. So, what do you think Palace aims at? Is it just kind of try and get a top half finish, and that's good for them? That's a nice farewell for Roy, saying I got Crystal Palace out of a rut they were in under Patrick Vieira, steadied the ship.
Well, that's interesting. I think if it was me as the head of, as the chairman, then yeah, look, just do what you can. Minimum, try and get 7th to 10th if you can. If you can. If not, just nowhere near the relegation zone, right? Just do what you can. Get us mid-table. We're happy with that. And in the background, we're just going to find your successor and plan ahead for next season. Otherwise, yeah, that sounds then the season's pretty much a write-off in my eyes. That's why I'm looking at it.
Yeah. You think someone like Graham Potter would be a good fit at Crystal Palace?
You know what? Graham, maybe, but they've got some players in there that he can work with. And I think just adding a few additional players to that will make them good European contenders.
He had players at Chelsea.
No, but,
He had better players at Chelsea.
but you know what it is? Sometimes it's a bit like the Moyes effect, isn't it? David Moyes. Like at United, it was too much. And then he's gone West Ham.
And it works. Yeah.
And it's worked. You understand? And that might be Potter's thing. I can actually put my blueprint on this.
So the pressure.
And there's no pressure.
They can't deal with the pressure.
Maybe
and
that's
the
it.
expectation.
And you think he might have more control if he goes somewhere like Crystal Palace as well, innit? Like, this is what I want. This is what
These
I can do.
These are the players I want.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, interesting. So, yeah, Manchester City are now 4th in the league, 5 points off Arsenal. City don't play next week because they're taking part in the World Club Cup. So it'll be interesting to see what the point difference is by the time they play their next league game. So let's just touch on today's fixture. Liverpool 0, Manchester United 0. Going into the fixture, I know a lot of Liverpool fans and the media are confident about Liverpool taking all 3 points in this game. I was a little bit more reserved because it's Man United v Liverpool, innit? You never know what's going to happen. I would have liked to have thought that we would have had enough for them, but based on Liverpool's performances over the last month, I'd say since the international break, I was a bit unsure. And my kind of reservations came true. So you're looking at me a little bit funny, Isaac. What you got to say?
Right.
How you sitting up?
Let me get comfortable first.
Go on.
Where do I start? Yeah, I think what's happened in my eyes, in my opinion, it's been massively built up that Liverpool are just going to win. Liverpool are going to roll them over. It's a bit like when Luton turn up, everyone just expects whoever's playing them, they're going to win 3 points. And then the game kicks off and everyone's just like, oh,
yeah,
right. This isn't as a walkover like we thought it was going to be. I think that's what's happened. I think Liverpool have turned up. They've believed the hype. They've believed the media. They've believed everyone saying Liverpool are going to roll them. People like me saying, yeah, we're going to get another 5 goals. And it's just gone. We've turned up and we've just looked absolutely poor in the final third. I won't say the whole game because, working through up the pitch, we looked okay. And then we got in the final third and it just absolutely fell apart. We just looked like, what the hell is going on?
Void of any ideas.
Any ideas? Like anyone, like no one was taking the game by the scruff of the neck or just get like that final spark. And I've never seen. Was it Alf that said it? A 0-0 battering. like that is crazy. But
go on.
I'm here again. On this hill. Salah needs to do more. Núñez and Diaz need to do more. Núñez, did you see when he stopped running?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
When Diaz got taken down.
Diaz got taken down and the ball's still in play and Núñez stopped.
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind? What's the most basic rule they tell you?
Keep on going.
Play to the whistle.
Thank you.
Play to the whistle.
You're an international. Uruguayan international. What's wrong? Listen. The 3 of them need to do more. I'm sorry. They need to do more. There needs to be more output. There needs to be more fluidity between the 3 of them. Diaz needs to score more. Núñez needs to find his shooting boots. We had the conversation, was it last week or the week before, about,
so
when
10 games without a goal now.
When do people start pulling him up and saying, actually, he's not good enough? And I think for me, that ship sailed a long time ago. He's just not good enough. He's absolutely not good enough.
Yeah.
And I even got back into midfield with Endo, who just looked absolutely out of his depth. At one point, Van Dijk's like, "Yo, big man, you're meant to be here." Like,
But
I'm just that it was very, very much a case of, in my eyes, they believed the hype and it showed, and we had nothing to show.
So for me, as I said, I think for the last month, I think even though we've been getting over the line, getting certain wins, I think the performances haven't necessarily been there. I think go back to last week against Crystal Palace, didn't necessarily deserve to win that game. We played pretty well against Sheffield United, but go back the Fulham game, again we were dominant on the ball, but very sloppy. Gave up lots of chances.
Mhm.
Not necessarily did enough to win that game, even though we did. Again, Man City dominated us, and we still managed to come out with a result. So we kind of silently been kind of getting the results without the performances, a little bit like Man United have been
Mhm.
doing, but just quite not as bad.
And that's why we're getting under the radar.
yeah,
And that was my point. Like, it's gone under the radar because when Liverpool have kind of gone on steady runs, let's say when we had the old front three, we were slapping teams, and it was sexy football, and it was like, oh my days, did you see this? Oh my days.
Yeah.
Where now it's just, someone just popping up and nicking a goal to kind of mask a kind of a mundane performance.
Yeah.
And I think today kind of highlights what happened if, last week we were talking about moments. If someone doesn't come up with those moments, Liverpool are in a bit of a rut.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that Klopp and the team need to work on.
We're missing a playmaker, game changer. It should be Salah, but it's not. And then outside of him, who else do we have? Diaz, for a point, was that playmaker. There was a little stretch, I think, in the last season, and even parts of last season, he was that playmaker. He'd pop off the wing, cutting, bang, back of the net. A couple of times
cross.
he took the game by the scruff of the neck. He's not doing that anymore. Nunes, just again, you can't count on him. In midfield, you look into midfield, Szoboszlai's just gone a bit flat.
Yeah,
he's still running,
he dropped off a cliff,
but he's gone a bit flat. The end product's not there, right? And we can't keep counting on Trent to pull a pass off or some piece of magic.
Yeah,
because he's just one player, and if he's trying to do it from that inverted right back. And then also now trying to sit in DM, it's at the sacrifice of an actual DM or an actual right back, right? So there are now gaps in the system. And even if he does pull off a piece of magic, if he's pulling it off and then Nunes is on the end of it, it's pointless.
Yeah, it's tough.
And what I noticed, you haven't really got a guy in midfield or attack that's retained the ball in a tight space.
Thank you.
Like no one comes in the pocket and say, "All right, let me
make something happen.
Turn on it and make something happen and do a fake or a feint or a reverse pass." No one's doing that for you.
Do you know who tries? Curtis Jones, but he's a little too slow on the ball.
Yeah,
that's my only gripe. If you actually watch when he plays, he does pop up. He does try a little shimmy, but then he slows it down and then he goes backwards and then it's all too late.
I was surprised that him or Elliott didn't start the game today. But just going back to the point about the players, I think bar Alisson, Trent, and I think I know you've had reservations about Salah and Salah just because of his numbers. Aside from those three, no one else in the squad or the team, Van Dijk as well, no one else has really stood up and kind of been counted. It's just like they've just been coasting with everyone else. Everyone's just kind of been around that.
Oh, someone will pop up and do something.
5 to 7 match rating every week. Some might get 8. So to start the season, Szoboszlai was getting his 8s, 9s.
Yeah.
Where he's more down the 6s at the minute. And the same with like Gravenberch, Endo, etc. So I think, there just needs to be a collective come on the man then, rise it.
And do we know
someone
Gravenberch, because he came off injured today, didn't he?
Yeah, we don't know why. He got kicked by Anthony.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's nothing serious because we've got quite a few games coming up. But
we definitely need someone to take the scruff of the neck and just say, lads, come on.
You know,
Come
I think if he had a different mentality, I keep on saying this though, like my other friends, it's Gakpo. Like, he's got the strength.
Yeah, I like Gakpo. I think.
But I just think his mentality doesn't match
I agree.
his ability.
I agree.
Like, I'm like, for me, and like when I watch him or when I've seen him, I'm saying, this guy's the closest thing that we mostly seen. When I mean closest thing in terms of attributes, height, pace, skill, technical ability, to elements of Henry. But he doesn't have that intensity whatsoever. So what I'm saying is,
let him get there. Let him get there.
That's
Let
why
him
I didn't
get
go
there.
any
I'm saying,
further.
his height, his pace, his technical ability is very similar. It reminds me of Henry. Yes, he's not going to be like Henry.
Okay.
No one's going to match Henry, but he doesn't use his strength enough, his pace enough, or his vision enough. And I read it shooting.
There was a moment today in the game where he picked up the ball, looked to see if there was anything. There wasn't, so he then kind of went back on himself, went back up
Right.
towards Salah. Now he's got options.
Mhm.
What does he do?
Take that shot,
Took a
the drag shot.
tame shot. But what I would say about
The
Liverpool
selfish G. It's spreading.
is
Telling
the majority of the players in and around the squad now are quite young. So bar like Van Dijk and Salah, Alisson and Endo. Everyone else is relative, like Trent's young, Konate's young, but Quanta's coming through is young, Jones, Elliott, Gakpo, Diaz is still young, McAllister's younger than Trent, Nunez is still young. So I think there's foundations there. So I think if they can stay in the title race, which I think we will, because I think where our defence has got a lot better since last year, that will help us out.
I personally, for me, I think we're missing a killer, a striker.
Yeah.
A number 9 that knows where the back of the net is.
Yeah. But they're few and far between.
They're dying out. Top level strikers
that's the-
are
What, like 20 or 15 goals?
15 will do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
15
Salah,
league. 15 league.
yeah, because
Yeah.
Salah is chopping in the rest.
And getting it, yeah, that's right.
And then the rest are spread out. But if a striker can come in, if Nunez could put 15 league goals in the upper season, no problem.
And then what? Diaz gets 7 to 10?
No problem.
Yeah, 10.
No problem.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that's like
No
nearly
problem.
50 goals between
Yeah.
the front three. So Man United,
Hey,
did they come with a game plan and just
course
stick to it?
of
Like
course
they
not.
didn't want to lose. They
They-
didn't want to win.
No.
They just looked like they were out there.
Yeah.
They just looked like they were out there. Just don't lose. Or just try not to lose. They didn't even look like, it wasn't even like a Mourinho park the bus special.
Yeah.
You know when you know he's parking the bus?
Yeah.
We're not trying to go forward. You're not trying. We're just making sure you don't score.
Yeah.
It didn't even look like that. It didn't look like
Right.
there was a plan of attack, like a counter attack. Okay, let's attack the right. If we catch the ball out of possession, and Trent's moved in, hit the left wing. It was none of that. It was just right.
They tried to get the count, didn't they?
Who was the three in the middle? Is McTominay?
Amrabat, Mainu.
Yeah. Amrabat and Manu.
Yeah, it was.
Amrabat.
Mate.
That World Cup.
Him and Endo.
That World Cup.
Him and
is-
Amrabat and Endo. They're like
That
this.
was-
1-on-1. They're the same player.
That World Cup done wonders for him, boy.
Massively.
That formation that Morocco played done wonders for him.
Hey, listen. Maino looked a lot better than him. Comfortable on
Yeah.
the ball.
Anticipation.
Yeah. I think he's got a good future ahead of him. If he can stay fit, keep progressing, I think Maynard will do pretty well.
United
Going
just
forward.
looked lost, man.
Even the attack.
I can't put my finger on it. I can't explain it. Like Liverpool fan to the side, bias aside, banter aside. As a club, as a team, they just look a
There was no
mess.
patterns of play. There was
Nothing.
I'm gonna come short. You're gonna go in behind.
Nothing.
Nothing. It just looked so disjointed. It looked like not being like you got a Saturday team together. These are the front three, and then
Literally.
I see Anti trying to do one outside of the boot pass. I was like, bro,
What I know Ten Hag said he can't play the Ajax way at United. But even still, what are you trying to play? What style of play have you implemented? What is there? Because Onana on the ball. So let's just say they tried to play out from the back with Onana.
Yeah.
That just looks a mess.
Yeah.
Because he keeps kicking the ball out or he's missing
And
his
people
players.
are not in the position to pick it up or do like I'm gonna bring you in, but the wide players, the outlet, the fullbacks, the outlet.
Exactly.
You know,
We're doing this to
nothing
we're doing this to pull the forwards forward, and leave the midfielders so Amrabat and Mano have space to pick the ball up. Nothing.
It's just,
what is it?
Yeah,
it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to touch on Højlund. So I know the price tag, nothing to do with him, but when someone pays that much for you, they can't you expect a certain outlay. In the Champions League, fair enough. He put numbers up in a. I was going to say a very difficult group. It wasn't a difficult group. He put numbers up in the Champions League, fair enough. But he's now played 13 league games, hasn't scored a goal. When do you start saying, Wagwan?
I think for him it's kind of different in terms of, as opposed to Nunes, right? Nunes is in a team where the chances are being created. He's just not finishing them. Or even still, he just does erratic stuff. Højlund's just not getting any chances. There's nothing behind it.
He had a very good one today.
Understandably, but you kind of have to take that with a pinch of salt. If a man's chance creation or chances provided are few and far between, you can't expect him to be switched on all the time. Especially in a team where there's just so much toxicity, right? I'm not holding it against him. Being in the United team, I'm not holding it against him. If it was Højlund in the Liverpool team and he was doing what Nunes is doing, then I'd be like, all right, bro.
But you know, I've watched him a few times, and what I see of him, he seems to enjoy getting into a physical battle. Rather than sometimes, let me just pick up a little position.
Yeah.
Let me just drop off a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've seen it a few times, and like again, it's like, oh, my whole game is about being physical. The centre back, letting him know that I'm there. And sometimes, actually, you're wasting so much energy doing that rather than let me make a good run, or let me just drop off, or let me pick up the ball in this pocket and bring everyone else in.
So is that experience and youth, or is that maybe that's just his game and it worked in another country and he thinks, or maybe he's been told that defenders in England are physical, it's a physical game.
So you need to match them.
You need to match them.
I think that's his game. Because I think that's what he done in Italy, and that's what when he came over, he's really physical, he's powerful, etc.
Yeah.
And I think he's just taken it and brought it and amped it up another 2 levels because he's playing in England.
Yeah.
But if you check his debut against Arsenal,
he looked
like
Saliba,
and then all the Man United fans were like, "Oh yeah, he's putting it on Saliba."
Gabriel,
yeah.
Okay, and a bit of pushback on the whole price tag thing. I know you prefaced it and said, yes, that's not his fault, but I think it's unfair to use it as a beating stick or a measuring stick even for a player if they don't perform. I think it's unfair because in today's economy, because prices are just...
You mean across the board?
Like, across the board.
Oh, okay.
Across the board, I think it's kind of unfair to use the price tag against the player and be like, well, that's not a £100 million player, but as the player, I didn't tell you to pay that. Yeah. Your representatives and the club's representatives decided that's what you're going to play. You wanted me. Do you understand what I'm saying? You've taken me out of a situation where I look like a £100 million player, and now you're trying to put me in a new situation, and now everyone's, because it's not working, or I'm not fitting in as quickly as people want me to, you're now telling me I'm not a £100 million player. And
to that point as well, a lot of the time with these fees, it's not a case of the buying club saying, if I spend £100 million, that's going to bring a certain amount of success. It's the selling club saying, well, this is my asset. I think this asset is worth £100 million. So if you want it, that's how much you've got to pay. So I kind of understand where
so the clubs are now being forced to then part ways with those kind of fees, and then a player will come in and it doesn't quite work, because let's be real, it's not always going to work. It is not always going to work. And a lot of these players, Caicedo, Lavia, whoever else it may be, Højlund, they're not like top class, world class, elite level players that are game changers, that are going to come from point A, club A to club B and just
But I think it's both ways, because then you can say Rice, Bellingham, Haaland, they've gone for those prices and they're producing.
Yeah.
You understand? So then it's like, you're always going to be in that category.
I think with Rice, Bellingham and Haaland, you know what you're getting beforehand, innit? Like I've said, Rice going to Arsenal elevates them.
I think everyone said
Bellingham
that.
going to
Everyone
anywhere
said that, yeah.
elevates them. Haaland the same. I think what Isaac's trying to say is that you've got these players who are kind of a victim of the way the money in football has gone.
Yeah.
So regardless of what they do,
But most definitely. But then I think, like you said, there's players out there that's gone for that money and they've produced, or something out of that price bracket that they shouldn't be in, and they've produced. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you're always going to turn around and say, well, I've paid or we've paid 80 mil for you. We need to see something now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. As a player, I'm gonna say that. Well, why did you?
Yeah.
You're the one that decided. I didn't sign the paper. I didn't say, yeah, let's do it. You did. So cool. I'm coming here to do my best, and I will do my best. I will give it my all. But all I'm saying is this: don't use that against me when it doesn't work out. More so, it should be used against the directors of football, the clubs, the chairmen, the managers. That's who should be pulled up and said, well, you decided to spend 100 mil on these players. They've not panned out. Your judgment is now in question. It's like when Damien Scamoli spent on Andy Carroll. Who else came in at that time? Henderson and Downing.
Yeah.
Bruv, he lost his job because of that. And rightly so. And Kenny Dalglish got pulled up about that as well. And rightly so. Not the players. It wasn't like, Andy Carroll.
it's a board level thing, isn't it?
It's a board level thing. And I think that's where the price issue should stop. I think it's unfair to look at Højlund and go, oh, well, that's not an £80 million player. Well, do you know what? Listen, he's come into a situation that's crap. Yeah. It's not his fault.
But I think just based on the way football has naturally been over the years, no matter how much you buy a player for, you're gonna use it in it because people say, Liverpool bought Sami Hyypiä for 2.5 million.
Yeah,
and it's the best 2.5 million they'll spend. So
of course. I mean, of course, on the flip side of it, if it pans out, you'll be saying, that's an 80 million pack. You're gonna use it as well. But and I get that. I understand.
I understand what you're saying.
What I'm trying to say is, I think it's just a little unfair to brand him and a player and be like, that's not an 80 million pack. Big man, he didn't tell you to pay.
But do you think then that plays on him? So then that, like, in the sense of, I've been bought for 80 mil and I haven't scored yet. And then now that becomes a pressure on him.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think elite players shouldn't have that mindset. I think they should do what you said, innit? Like, well, it wasn't I didn't sign the check. You said, come and play for me. I'm going to come and play for you. If I do well, it's all well and good. If I haven't, it's not because of the price tag. It's just because whatever factor
circumstances
hasn't worked out.
Yeah, that's it.
So... cool. So bit of a anticlimactic match, to be honest. Liverpool v Man United. Just touch on Dalot getting sent off right at the end. We don't know what was said to the referee. I think the first one was because he was shouting at the ref because he didn't get the throw in. Don't know what was said for the second one. Does seem a bit harsh considering how late on in the game it was, etc.
And Salah did the exact same thing and kicked the ball away and didn't get any yellow card or a talking to. Didn't even get a talking to.
So, this is the whole consistency thing we're saying.
If I was a United fan,
don't win matches,
I'd be I'm sorry. If I was a United fan, I'd be peeved. Absolutely peeved.
So, it'd be interesting to see what the PGMOL come out with, even if they do. Right. Moving on to another informed team. Brentford 1, Aston Villa 2. So, a lot has been said of Villa's home form. Smashing it, won 14 or 15 in a row at Villa Park. A lot of, not criticism, but saying if they can rise their away form, there'll be...
big problem.
Yeah.
That's it.
Big problem.
And they managed to go to Brentford, which is not an easy place to go to in the Premier League. Like Brentford, I think this is like their third season in the Premier League now. And you'd think they've been in the Premier League like 10 years. Like they seem like a staple Premier League.
Now.
Yeah. So Villa go 1-0 down. Lewis Potter scores. From the reports that I've read, Brentford weren't dominating, but they were having the better of the exchange. At the time that they score, they go in 1-0 up at half time. And then in the second half, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but Ben Mee gets sent off. So I found this one quite interesting. So for those that don't know, Ben Mee's He's missed the ball. He's gone in a little bit high on the Aston Villa player. I can't remember who it is. Forgive me. Referee's seen it in real time, given a yellow card. I think the reason why the referee's given a yellow card is because the Villa player hasn't made much of it. He's been like, I've been caught, but he hasn't like stayed on the ground and rolled around as some players do. I think that's why he got a yellow. So it was actually VAR that kind of intervened. It was like, you need to go and have a look at this. What do you guys think of the card situation?
Didn't see it, I'll be honest with you. But I mean, if that's the case, what can you do?
Yeah, studs were
what
up.
can you do?
I did catch him.
Then there you go. It's gonna happen, and there's been a lot made of the VAR reviewing of potential red cards because of the whole slow freeze frame and the slow frame, and then it looks a lot worse than it actually is in real time. If he's met the criteria for what is a red card, then what can you do about it?
I think for me it was a red card, just based on it being that high.
Okay.
But then, like you said, real time is a different issue. There's that, and in another game they said on the VAR screen they played it in full speed and the ref made the decision. And in this one, it's the correct decision. I think the problem with VAR and the people that operate VAR, again, they're not taking control of it and saying this is a red card. They say no, look at it again, and it's too subjective. And when it's so subjective, that's when you get the complaint because they say, oh, in this game that player never got a red card, but this game just be black and white. Start showing, it's a red card. End of. Not,
That's interesting. That's actually a good point. So VARs, they're not really looking at the context of the game. They're just looking at the criteria.
Yeah.
Like you said, are the studs up?
Yeah.
Is it above the ball?
Yeah.
Is there excessive force?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, if all decisions, if they come out and said, look, we have a list of criteria, this is what we're looking for. If it meets bang, 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 it's a red card. We're advising it's a red card. So it's not a case of, like you say, subjectivity.
The force of the speed and no, it's just a red card. And that's why offside works, because it's just clear and cut. That's an offside. That's not an offside. End of.
Yeah. So we kind of touched on VAR essentially like re-refereeing games, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about the idea of, let's say the referee's given a yellow card and where it's not clear or could be subjective, because you're saying, VAR's not saying, right, send him off, that is. That's VAR saying, go and have a look.
Yeah.
In the instance where they say, go and have a look, instead of them saying that, would it be good for the yellow card to stand during the game and then retrospectively after the game, they say, should have been a red and this player is going to be banned for a game? Everything that works.
That's a Pandora's box of issues.
Yeah. Because you're saying, we lost an advantage in the game. He should have been sent off.
Exactly. He should have. They played a game with 11 men and it should have been 10. Or do you know what I mean? Or you sent a man off and
it should have been a yellow.
It should. It's, no matter which way you look at it, it's just like we've already got a problem. We've already got problems.
That just creates another layer of confusion.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So yeah, Ben Mee gets sent off, and then Moreno scores, makes it 1-1, and then in the 85th minute, Watkins scores against his former club. There's a bit of argy-bargy because apparently he made like a gesture to the crowd and there's a little bit of kerfuffle. But Watkins, man, he's kind of stakes his claim as England's number 2 striker.
No, I disagree. I disagree massively. Ooh. And I'll tell you why.
Ooh.
Because everyone else is raising the game around him as well. Solanke's in form. I'm not saying Solanke.
I want to hear it.
Solanke's in form.
Yep.
Ivan Toney was in form. He'd actually cemented his place, we could arguably say, as England's number 2 striker just before the ban. So Tony's coming back, and depending on whether he hits the ground running or not, he's going to be available. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin, okay, he's not a goal scorer, but he's looking very, very good.
Yeah, back to full fitness.
He's back to full fitness, and he's causing problems. He's leading the line for Everton, and he's a presence that England don't have, essentially. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think Ivan Toney's got that same physical presence as well, but I think aerially, Calvert-Lewin's better than the rest of them.
Yeah.
by far.
I think for
Was that
Tony,
the list you're going to say? The same what?
there's one wild card in there, but for Tony, Southgate likes Ivan Tony.
Yeah.
And he made it clear. I think he even backed him in the hearing.
Yeah.
So then that's Tony. And then I think if he gets the right run, he can't stay fit. It's Callum Wilson. He's a slight wild card. He's slightly different to all the rest of the strikers.
It's a good job John's not here.
I think Callum Wilson has benefited massively from Tony's ban. In the sense that Watkins wasn't playing like this around the time Tony got banned.
No.
Calvert-Lewin was injury prone. Solanke was out of form.
Yeah.
Callum Wilson was there.
And he benefited.
So he's benefited massively. I think now that everyone's coming back up, I think Callum Wilson's gonna.
But that's why I said he's a wild card. He's in there loose in the background. He might have a run of games.
Yeah.
And he gets 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And that puts him in contention for selection.
Yeah.
But that's a wild card.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll still stand it though. I'd say it's Kane, Watkins, but everyone else, they've closed the gap to Watkins. I think he was a little bit ahead on his own.
Yeah.
I think Solanke won't get picked.
No. He won't get picked.
Southgate
but he's in
won't do
form.
it. Yeah.
He won't get picked, but he's in form.
I think it will be between. You think you'll take 3 9s or 2?
2. I think he'll take 2.
But just Kane and
Because Rashford can
Because
kind
none
of
of them are playing.
Rashford can kind of play as a 9.
As long as Kane's fit, no one's playing. So why am I taking 3?
Yeah. So the shootout. If Tony comes back and starts scoring, the shootout's going to be between Watkins and Tony.
And if Calvert-Lewin starts adding goals, I think he'll creep back in there because he offers something different that none of them offer. He's really good in the air.
Yeah.
As long as if he can stop putting the ball in the net with his feet, because his aerial presence is not an issue. As long as he can stop putting that ball in the net with his feet, I think he'll provide another another option.
So Kamara was sent off in the 97th minute. I missed that. I don't know what for, but good win for Villa.
Aston Villa.
Yeah,
I think Martin has gotten something with I can't remember the player. And then Kamara's come over and then he started being a bit too aggressive in the situation and then he got set off. I think he pushed someone in the face or something like that. So yeah.
Right, so Aston Villa, 3rd, 38 points, same amount of points as Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Most media outlets are saying they're going to fall off.
Nope, I don't think so.
That's my question.
No, I don't. I think they've got the momentum behind them at the moment, and they've got options off the bench that can change the game as well. Like DR, if Leon Bailey's on the bench, he can come on, do something. Ramsey,
John Duran.
So they've got a couple guys that can come off the bench and nick a goal or get an assist, and that makes a difference. And
then in defense, they got Pau Torres, Diego Carlos. Tyrone Mings ain't sniffing that back line.
He's not coming back.
Sniffing that back line.
Because Konsa's gone right back now. Konsa's gone right back.
Konsa, Mings, House, Carlos, Torres. They've got 5 centers.
Do you know who I didn't realise was there? Dendonka.
Yeah.
I was like, where did he go? Where
did he pop up?
So they've got, I know they brought in a few players from overseas, but they've got like players who know the Premier League.
Yeah.
So like say Dendonka, Tielemans, people who know what it's about.
I think they bought well. They bought really well.
Yeah, they have. And like we've sung their praises like many a time.
And this is also off of the back of them spending for Steven Gerrard as well. Remember, Diego Carlos coming under Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
I think Alex Moreno, did he come? No, it was Luca Dean that came in under Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
So I think they've spent well, and I think Unai Emery's come in and the same sauce he sprinkled over Sevilla and Villarreal.
Yeah,
he's sprinkling it over Aston Villa. Clearly, the job, like we've said before, he didn't get enough time at Arsenal. PSG was a poison chalice.
I don't know if it was enough time at Arsenal. Again, I think it's the club, the stature of the club might be too much for him, and he can't
disagree. Because you can't say that. You can't give Arteta this time and not say that about him.
No, I hear what you're saying, but this is what I see with what you're doing, what you're allowed to do, and what you're allowed to get away with, and what's the culture you're implementing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at those clubs, remember for Arsenal, he's changing the team, the formation. I think one game he played Torreira as a 10. And I think at Villa he can do that because the fans, their expectation is not there. They've got a totally different expectation to Arsenal fans. You know, like it's kind of like Tottenham. Tottenham fans have got this thing about beautiful football. We play beautiful football. Every manager that comes in has to play the beautiful football. I think at Villa, he's like, I can play this way or this way. And the fans are going to accept it as long as we're winning at the moment.
Yeah, they're just happy to be there.
And I think as well, his lack of English turned him into a bit of
A meme. Good
yeah, the good evening.
Yeah.
He became a bit of a comedy show.
To be fair, the media disrespected him a lot, man. Like, let's not.
And I think
let's not
that's
shy about
also
it.
played a part in him, Arsenal board saying, let's.
And
But because he's come back and his English is much better this time around, and he's a lot more serious.
And he embraced it a little bit as well, kind of. Yeah.
So, I like this run of form for Aston Villa. I like how Emery's turned it round. I don't see it falling off anytime soon.
So we're saying top four's locked in as it is?
Yeah. No, I don't think it's locked in.
No, as in the team, not the positions.
Oh, we're saying Liverpool, Arsenal, Aston Villa, City. Yeah, possibly.
But I think it's
Possibly.
between Tottenham and Villa now.
Oh, you think Tottenham might?
Tottenham, well...
I think just based on Villa's squad and certain games, I think they might get unstuck. They might get stuck a little bit in some games.
So I think Villa have got a better squad than Tottenham.
I agree with you.
Yeah, also.
You think Villa got a better squad than Tottenham?
Oh, yeah, 100%. You look at...
Have you looked at their midfield?
I think Tottenham have got a better first 11, but once you go past that...
as in depth squad.
Yeah.
Well, because you can see that now.
Yeah,
Tottenham lost 3 players and
then
it all went pairs.
Yeah, Louis didn't even play today for Villa, so and they still got the result. So
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, really good for them. All right, moving on. Newcastle 3, Fulham 0. So this game was quite even until another, could say, contentious red card.
Raul Jimenez. Yeah.
Did you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Again, so for the context of those who haven't seen it, again, I can't remember the Newcastle defender, forgive me, but they go to play the ball. Jimenez jumps into him quite high.
It's
like his
long
bum.
stuff. It was long stuff.
Yeah, it's like his bum hits his head.
It was.
Like, it's really weird. When I saw it, I was like, what's going on here?
It's one of those things, isn't it? You've committed.
Yeah. you can't back out.
You can't back out.
And the ball's even nowhere near the area you hit it. It's like,
I've gone for it.
See it through.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
So yeah, the referee on pitch has given a yellow card. VAR have gone, have another look. I even though they had another look, just because he didn't use he hit him with his bum, innit?
I wouldn't have given the ref for that. If I was the ref, I'd have said, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was reckless but stupid, innit?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't reckless but harmful.
There wasn't intent. He didn't do it with intent to knock him out.
Yeah.
He drew blood, though.
Nah,
He drew blood. I see a little whoops.
Yeah.
Nose and he twisted into him. He jumped into it. I could understand why it was given, though.
My only concern or my only kind of confusion would be, even if you thought Longstaff was going to go down the pitch or he was going to kind of knock it, why would you attack the ball like that?
Yeah, it was weird, didn't it?
Yeah, that was...
What was your thought process?
Yeah, that's where I was stuck. I was a bit confused trying to figure out, okay, if I'm in that position and I think he's going to kick the ball, why would I... What would make me
jump in
like that?
Yeah.
Because I think what's happened, he's jumped in to block it.
No,
the ball's gone this way. And then he's gone mid-air to try and spin out of it. But no, it's not happening.
But they like when you watched it, it looked like it was off the back of the challenge from Lascelles.
Okay.
Because he caught the elbow in the face.
Okay.
And then he never got anything.
Okay.
And
so
then
he might have been rolled up.
So maybe that's why
that's what it was. And then he's gone for him, and then he's pulled out and then twisted into him.
Okay.
That's a bit of a shame because Fulham had been on a good run. Obviously scored 10 goals in their previous 2 games. Jimenez has scored goals within those 2 games. Fulham held out until the 57th minute, and Miley scored his first goal for Newcastle. He put up a couple of assists over the last few games. But you could see when he scored, he was quite emotional. Brighton, boyhood club.
Local boy, yeah.
Yep. And to be fair, I think he played, for the amount of games he's played and the level that they've been playing at, I think he's played really, really well.
So,
I'm really impressed with him.
Question. At what point do clubs start going, well, actually, we've got enough talent in our youth setup to start bringing them through and giving them a chance, because you never know. You might find more Lewis Mileys. You might find more Harvey Elliott's. Quanzas.
Yeah. Sackers.
You know what I'm saying? Not Phillips. Who was the other one that...
Okay.
Oh, but for real. Who's the other one that partnered Nat Phillips when Van Dijk was out?
Reece Williams.
Reece Williams.
Yeah,
you might find more players in your setup. No, but he did a job. He did a job. He wasn't. But do you understand what I'm saying?
It's a good ask, and I think if Newcastle didn't have these injury problems,
he wouldn't have
know who he is.
Exactly.
We wouldn't know who he is.
He wouldn't have sniffed that until it's like a Carling Cup game,
League Cup or something,
or against like a League 2 team. Then they'll go, oh yeah, give him an opportunity. But they've been forced into pulling people from the youth setup rather than having to go into the transfer market and spend these 80 million, spend these 100 millions. When actually, no, there's a 17-year-old kid in our setup who just needs exposure. He just needs experience in the first team.
Yeah.
And he can do a good enough job.
Yeah.
Like, at what point do the clubs start actually going, what actually?
But I think so many clubs are risk averse now if they don't have the injury problems. Because to be fair, a lot of the time these kind of younger players come through, unless they're superstars. Like, even to go back to Rashford. Rashford only made his debut
because of injuries.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, I'm here now, let me take my chances.
Yeah. Trent the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of like the younger players, especially at the big, so you can kind of take out Bellingham out the equation. Because I think lower down the league, you're more likely to make a debut when you're younger. But at the higher level,
the risk.
Clubs are just like, wow, we've got this player. We would even loan him out to another pro club.
Yeah.
But we don't know if we could take the risk of him
being a mistake in the game.
Yeah, in a big game, etc.
So then why invest in these academies, these youth academies? Invest so much in saying we need we need a good youth academy. We want to be known as the team that develops the best player. But then they don't. There's no through path to the first team.
But weren't that the reason of the British quota?
Yeah.
The transfer windows to encourage them getting a chance.
But then you get teams like City going and buying Calvin Phillips and sitting him on the bench because he meets the quota.
Yeah.
Rather than bringing through Rico Lewis, bringing through that, because I'm sure there's more than just Rico Lewis and Cole Palmer in that City.
Yeah. The guy that scored midweek, Hutchinson's, was it?
Micah Hutchinson's, I think. Yeah. I'm guaranteed they're all biting at the bit, ready for their opportunity to play.
Yeah. A lot of people have said, people have said that when they made the change from reserves leagues to under 21s, under 23s, you kind of lost the exposure to men's football. Because when we were growing up,
I remember that.
The reserves were people coming back from fitness who would go to the reserves. So you'd get like Alan Shearer, who'd been out for like 2 months, play the reserve game against like a 17, 18-year-old. And they would get that experience of playing against like physical, established players, where now, even though you can play, I think you can play 3 over 21s in the under 23s. In the under 23s. It's not enough. So you're just kind of, you're like for like until you make that jump to the first team, innit?
Yeah.
So,
and you're right, because some teams in the past would say, all right, I'm playing 5 of the squad players in the reserve game. So then that younger player is like, oh, now I'm facing 5 players, a centre-back, a striker, a midfielder, and a winger.
And you get that proper quality experience, wouldn't you? So.
It's just seeing all these youngsters break through and actually cement a place or actually look good. It makes me go, well, there are a lot of kids that are getting thrown by the wayside. They either get released by their clubs because they've not been given an opportunity. I mean, look at Rashford. Like you said, he wasn't sniffing near the first team, and then all of a sudden they were forced to bring him in, and look what happened. He took to it like a water duck to water.
Yeah, he's really good.
Do you know what I mean? But you don't know if a person's suited to men's football until you give them the opportunity. Yeah. And sending them out on loan to League One and Championship is not the same as sending them as them playing in the Premiership under the same expectations
and the same formation and
and even like
players
exactly
playing them in like cup games and stuff. Remember, was it Billy Gilmore a couple of seasons ago? Got
Yeah.
man of the match against Liverpool in the
Yeah.
cup game.
Yeah.
Played really well and then didn't really kick on at Chelsea. And he's at Brighton now, which
Yeah.
is not
And
a
he's
fall
kicking
off.
on now. It's starting
Yeah,
to
but like
kick on
saying
again.
it doesn't always kind of work out straight away. But
Yeah.
I think there needs to be it's like you can't tell clubs what to do in it. Like they think they know best for their players and their teams, etc. So it's hard to say, well, you've got an established 16, 17-year-old in your roof ranks, play him on a Saturday away at
Yeah.
whoever in
It's,
it.
it's like the whole
Yeah.
Amari Hutchinson situation.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But has he kicked on?
He has. He's doing well for Ipswich. Ipswich are top of the table.
Oh, okay. Because he's on loan from Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's actually doing well. He's not in the last couple of weeks. He's not been, but he's had standout performances.
And that's why a lot of Arsenal fans was upset with Arteta in the week, in midweek, because he didn't play any of the youths.
Yeah.
But then Man City did. Man City said, all right,
Whole team.
pretty much the whole
Pretty
team.
much.
Yeah, he was like,
Go on.
Yeah.
Go do your thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting take, but yeah, I think he's playing really well. I think like that, he might. What I've noticed is young English players who come in and do well, they kind of get fast tracked through the England ranks. So he might be playing England under 17s now. He might be in the under 20s, under 21s
Very soon.
squad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
soon. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be good exposure for him.
But a lot of I don't want to keep talking it, but a lot of players you won't know if they're good enough if they don't get the chance.
Yeah, this is it.
You know, clubs take heed. You've got the players.
yeah.
Test them out.
Very true. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how many, at the end of the season, how many of the clubs gave debuts or minutes, how many minutes they gave to youth players.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. And then, Almiron made it 2-0. Dan Burn made it 3-0. So Newcastle had been on a bit of a slump. Do we think, as I said, like with Brighton, win a couple, lose a couple, do we think that's going to be Newcastle, or now that they're out of Europe, they're going to be like, right, let's concentrate on the league and let's try and challenge again like we did last season? Because, like we said, I think they're maybe 2 years ahead of where they should have been.
Say that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of a weird one, because like they got to the Champions League last season. Do they expect to get to the Champions League again, or do they go back to the original plan and be like, right, let's go for top 10. Now let's go for Europe, so Conference League, etc. Do you think they should be aiming for like just get back in conference, whether like Europa League or Conference this season, or top 10? What's your take on it? Considering now they're out of Europe.
I think due to their injury list, I think they've got to aim for conference or Europa League due to their injuries. I think they've got enough quality to get there.
I agree.
But that injury list,
I agree.
Joe Linton came off.
Yeah. Fabian Schär as well.
Fabian pulled a hamstring.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing in training? What are you
Right.
are you still
Right.
Are you actually still doing a full training session, match, six-a-side?
So I said I wanted to come back to this point, yeah. Everyone, like, I know they've got a few injuries, yeah. But if you look at the 11 that they played, right? Okay, I'll give you Nick Pope. He was injured. The breath could come in. He's not like any guy. It's fine. Livramento, everyone's been raving about him.
Mm-hmm.
And he only played because Trippier was banned. So I think you can take that out of the equation. Shaw played, and everyone's saying Shaw's one of the best centre-backs in the league. Dan Burn is back. Everyone's raving about Dan Burn. In their midfield, they had Bruno and Joe Linton, who's their starters essentially.
Yeah.
And Longstaff played. I know, granted, normally Talani would have been there. And then up front, you had Almiron, Wilson, and Gordon. That's not far off their first 11.
You got
like there's 2 or 3 players. Like,
I hate, but you got to look at the bench as well. Like, what's the options on the bench? And in parts, I'm with you. In parts of it, it's that fatigue. I'm like, how can you be fatigued? You've been out injured. You've come back. You can't be fatigued. I'm not having that one. You've only been back for 4 games. Like, I'm not having that.
yeah,
But if you look at what's the options on the bench,
I give you that. So
and then Miley's come in, and that's why we've seen Miley step up, because Joe Willock's been injured,
Mm-hmm.
Harvey Barnes has been injured, out for a long time, and then Miley's coming in and he's filled it. Longstaff was injured, I think, for a little bit as well.
yeah,
So then that's how we got to see him. And then actually he stepped up to the plate. What's that?
I understand the bench thing. Like they had Botman on the bench. Richie was on the bench. Hall, who they signed from Chelsea.
Yeah.
Murphy and Miley, who's kind of established. So it's not like they got any guys on the bench. They got a couple, but on the whole, it's all right.
Yeah, I think I'm on the fence here. I think I agree that the core of the team is still strong enough, was still strong enough until obviously Shah and Joelinton got injured. But at the same time, I agree with Binns in the sense of having a few injuries can alter the team style,
the
tactics,
pattern of play,
the patterns of play. It can alter how much you put in. Like if you've got a full strength squad, listen, go and give me 100%. Because if I need to take you off, I know whoever's coming on is gonna maintain the levels, right? Or it might the manager's team talk might now be, listen, do a job, but don't do too much because I can't afford to replace you. There's no one on the bench that's gonna replace
do what you can do.
Do what you exactly.
Yeah.
So I agree. It's half a dozen of the other.
And I think Eddie Howe, and this is what I'm saying, like I was looking at him like, what are you not doing in training? Like, are you resting properly? And some of the games, like even I'm saying Eddie Howe, is he managing the team?
Yeah,
right.
I think 3 games in a row he put out the same team. And it's like, I know you got injuries, but sometimes you just got to
just throw in
freshen up a little bit. He did on Saturday and it worked out. Fulham, I think it was just a blip. Like they've been on a nice little run, but with 10 men against a fairly decent Newcastle team.
Yeah.
What I would say about Newcastle is they just seem to be the media darlings at the minute.
Oh yeah, the narrative for them.
Just like I don't understand it. Like, but it is what it is. All right, moving on. Burnley 0, Everton 2. Sean Dyche went back to Turf Moor, took the chain off company's neck. It's like, right, you wanted all this pretty football, but it doesn't always work. You know what I mean?
The thing with the pretty football is you need the players to do it. Pep made that very clear when he arrived at City, and then also when I remember there was a conversation. I think he was having an interview with Rio Ferdinand, and Rio was asking about why he's so comfortable with just getting rid of players and etc. Because he's done that at Barca, he's done it at Bayern, he's done it at City, and he said, "Listen." First thing he said was, when you won your first title, was it the same team that won the title as your last title? Rio said no. He said, there you go. And then on top of that, he said, I have a system. And I need certain players
to play the system.
To play that system. My system doesn't change. If you're good enough, you will play. If not, you're at the door. I'll find someone that can play.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Company is a victim of the fact that he can't just get rid of players and bring players that can.
Yeah.
Is it a bit like Newcastle? Are Burnley ahead of their plan?
No, I don't think they're ahead of their plan.
I think they were always expected to come up. I don't think they were expected to be as dominant as what they were when they came up. But I think they would have expected to have a little bit more fight.
Transfer it over.
Yeah, a little bit more fight.
But so the thing is this, the Championship is not the Prem, right? In the sense of the quality gap is massive between the Championship and the Prem, right? You come down into the Prem, and the reason why a lot of these Prem quality teams come down into the Championship and come straight back up is because they've still maintained a huge core of those players that are are Prem quality
right now,
right? Yeah. And they can come down and they can turn on, like when Newcastle came down and just walked the Championship and came straight back up, right? Burnley, it wasn't a case of they had those players. They just had a manager who came from a situation where
and played the system. But
he was good enough and knew what a good system looks like. Yeah. So he's implemented that at Burnley and it's worked. So clearly the system works. It's just now they've gone into the Prem, and they've not upped the levels of the players.
For me, the system still works because if you look at the stats, like they had good amount of possession, they created good amount of chances. But when I was looking at the game or watching the game, should I say, was it's an IQ thing. So the right back might not be as intelligent.
Switched on enough.
He's doing the right things, but he's not quick enough.
Or he's not sharp enough to make in-game adjustments. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you look at then the physicality of some of them.
Mhm.
They're not physical enough for what Everton brought to the table. Because you know Sean Dyche is like, bro, I'm bringing all my 6 foot guys on. Demarai Gray's gone. Like, he's like, he's just like, all my 6 foot.
Tricky wingers.
Tricky.
Yeah.
No. Matt Neal's my most trickiest winger. That's it.
And even still, he's still like the size of him. Do you know what I mean?
Just short of 6 or just
Yeah.
6. So then that's it. So I was looking at the game. I was like, to be fair, I hope Burnley don't get rid of Company and stick it out. Because I think once he brings in a few more of his players, I think you're going to see them stay in the Prem next season. If once they go down and come back up, they will stay in.
Yeah.
If he sticks to the project as well.
But they're not playing rubbish ball in it. Like, you
Exactly.
can look at teams and be like, oh, they look rubbish.
Yeah.
Where you can see there's something about them. Like, it's just like you say, it's the fine margins that are not quite there.
All right.
However,
So, and I was just thinking, what if it was Company at Nottingham Forest? Because they've got better quality players at Nottingham
Yeah,
Forest
it's a good shout.
with the system.
exactly.
With his system. You'll be like,
Exactly. There's
So-
a team here.
there's a team
Yeah.
here. And that's what I was looking at yesterday. I was like, there's a team here. Or there's a system here. You just have to got all the players.
And to your point, look what Nottingham Forest owner did. All those loan players they went and brought in top, like, experience. Now, I'm not saying top quality world-class players, but they brought in
Prem
players
level.
that have
Yeah.
experience
The IQ,
of playing
the physicality.
top-level football,
Yeah.
right? So whether it was the Prem, Keylor Navas come in,
Yeah.
so he's played in the La Liga and Liga.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah,
Serge
yeah.
Aurier was
Yeah.
Tottenham's right back for
Yeah.
how long?
Yeah.
Like, they brought in players. So, and Burnley have not done that. And they've been unfortunate in the sense of they lost Lau Foster, obviously through mental health issues, etc.
He actually was on the bench.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
really,
good.
really good. I'm glad to hear that because I really rate him as a player.
Yeah.
I think he's a good player. And just in terms of the fact that his mental health is in a
Yeah.
better position where he's capable of being
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
pitch.
yeah.
So that's really good to hear. In terms of Burnley, okay, so the system's not working. Now this is where you really are. This is where we find out if you're a manager. Can you stop the rut?
Mm.
Yes, okay, you want to do it and not shy away from your values and your morals and your style. But what can you do to stop getting beat week in, week out? Maybe you might need to change your system. Maybe you might need 2 systems.
Yeah.
One for when things are going good, which is the main,
Mhm.
and one to just stop the rut. We
Yeah.
just don't want to lose. We need points.
Just put that extra body in midfield or in the defence. Yeah.
Park the bus. Learn how to park the bus. Learn to manage the game. If you have to win ugly, learn to do that. And that's my only gripe with Vincent Kompany at the moment is he's too wedded to his style of football, his tactics, his whatever, his philosophy. And he's not shown us that he can manage, essentially. Because I can't remember who it was that made the quote. I've had it a couple of times. You find out if you're a manager when you start losing, not when you're winning.
Yeah, no, very true. And it'd be interesting to see what Burnley do, whether they stick with him, even if they do go down.
Yeah.
Whether they stick with him to get them back up, considering how well he done last year. We kind of raved about Sean Dyche and this Everton team last week. More of the same, really. I think he's finally got his feet under the carpet and he's like, yep, this is who I am. This is what we're about. And I think they might slowly become that top 10 to 5 team that they were
think
under
it'll
David
get-
Moyes. And if he can spend his money wisely, which I think he has done pretty good. And again, he's brought in players that he knows, players that know the Premier League. I think if he can continue doing that, let's see.
I think when I've looked at, I think the 10-point deduction has galvanised him. And it's that us against the world now.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah,
it's that
massively.
the fans are cheering everything. No one's getting booed in their team at the
Massive.
moment.
Yeah.
So right now, I think that's
They're
going to be the
all
thing.
together,
They're
innit?
all together. That's going to be the thing next season, or for the rest of the season, should I say? That we're all together. No one's getting booed. I don't think they've got enough. They're far off from the top 10. Maybe not top 10, but top 5. Far off from top 5.
Yeah, without the deduction, they'll be
They would
easily
but,
comfortably
but
top
then
10.
but that's galvanised them. Because I think their results was going to be win, lose, win, draw, lose. That's how. But now that's galvanized them. We need to stay in the Prem to survive for the money, etc., etc. They're on it, and I see them winning. They could win a cup with this galvanization that they've got right now. They could be. What cup are they left in? Are they left in the FA or?
Well, yeah, FA Cup.
They could put a good cup run together.
FA Cup starts in a couple of weeks.
I think they could put a very good cup run together, and they could be a shock team because at the moment they've got this galvanization behind them.
They did the League Cup as well. They got Fulham this week in the League Cup. So cool. That rounds off that game. Let's touch on one of today's games. West Ham 3, Wolves 0. So West Ham had been in a bit of a rut in the league, but Paqueta 3 assists today, which isn't bad. Kudus 2 goals and 1 for Bowen.
Again,
he's had a really good season.
Just
really
quietly going along here.
Yeah.
Just like
he was
getting 1 and 2 here.
And I don't think it's a bit of a coincidence that West Ham's form dipped a little bit when he was out injured. So that's a good result for them. That takes West Ham up to 8th in the league, which it's not bad for West Ham. And obviously they qualify from their group in the Europa League midweek. Go to Chelsea 2, Sheffield United 0. Cole Palmer and Jackson with the goals. I don't think Jackson will score an easier goal in his career.
No, his hat-trick was easier, right?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Sheffield United are looking very, very poor. I know they picked up a win against Brentford last time out, and they've got Chris Wilder in now. But I think he's been given too much of a hard job to do, to be honest. I think for them, it might just be a case of
rebuild for next season.
Go back down.
I think his interview said it all as well.
What did he say?
So in the interview after the game, he was just talking about like they were a bit too eager, and he goes, "This is a learning curve for them, and trying to chase the ball against world-class players, that's when you're gonna get hurt." And he just made it clear, like, and I think after the game, you saw him in the huddle, and he just gave them the talk, like to say, "Look, don't worry about this result.
Yeah,
we're building on.
Yeah.
This is a stepping stone. This is what it is."
Yeah. Move on to the next one.
Yeah, I think there'll be a couple of them for Sheffield United this season. Go to Friday's fixture, or Nottingham Forest 0, Spurs 2, goals from Richarlison and Kulusevski. The second goal, Matt Turner. Oh. My gosh. A collective sigh.
It just justified Arteta's decision, didn't it? Like,
and the thing is, like, if you take Matt Turner and put him on a Sunday league, he will look like a world beater.
Yeah.
But there's just levels in it. And it's just like from the poor clearance to the flapping at the goal.
Yeah.
I can see why Arsenal got rid of him, basically.
Absolute stinker.
Is he still America's number one?
Yeah.
He's only just coming back into the fold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because he's getting regular game time,
Yeah.
I assume. But yeah, pretty comfortable for Spurs. So Spurs, after their kind of dip, they've won 2 on the bounce. Hopefully they beat Newcastle 4-1, beat Nottingham Forest 2-0. Their next game is at home to Everton, so that should be an interesting one. So you said, Adrian, that you think Tottenham will challenge for that 4th spot.
I think once the players come back, I think they've got enough in them, especially in the front line with Son up there.
Keep the first 11.
To keep the first 11 to push for the 4th spot. It's gonna be tight though. It's not gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be very tight.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want everything to go down to the wire, innit?
Yeah.
And then finally, the Bournemouth v Luton game was abandoned at 1-1 due to Tom Lockyer collapsing on the pitch. So yeah, we were told that he suffered a cardiac arrest on the pitch, but a couple hours after the game, he was up and alert and responsive and talking to medical staff at the hospital. So yeah, prayers to him and his family. We're not sure when that game will be replayed.
It's talking about February.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
But if he touches the pitch again this season, that's a serious issue of neglect there.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if he does. To be fair, considering the first collapse was in
May.
Yeah, the playoff final in May.
May.
And he essentially started the Premiership season.
Exactly.
Which is quite soon. I think it would be very...
June, July, August.
Yeah.
3 months.
Yeah.
Christian Eriksen didn't touch a pitch, for 8-9 months?
Yeah. Obviously, we're not medical experts. I'm sure he would have been cleared by all the relevant people.
Apparently he was cleared.
Yeah, so...
And that's crazy.
You know, it's a small club, and
if he touches the pitch again this season, I'll be so surprised.
I'll be very surprised.
I think there's too many eyes on that situation.
Yeah, they can't now. 2 cardiac arrests.
I can't remember who was the player the other day, and I was reading the whole article about it. Basically, long story short, the clubs were just signing off, and he was kind of signing a waiver.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
He was signing a waiver to say,
and he died on the pitch.
Yeah, he was
died
like,
on the pitch.
I'll sign this waiver to basically allow me to play.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then because of certain clubs of their medical,
he was a Nigerian player.
Yeah. And then because of their medical setup, they never had all the equipment to do all the checks fully. So some of the clubs he went under the radar, and the other clubs he got picked up, but then he signed a waiver to say, look, I'll still play.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I think what it is for Luton, because you got to remember, he might be leaning on Luton look, this is my...
Yeah, I need a wage or something.
Yeah, so hopefully... Yeah.
It's on Luton now if they allow him to play and he dies on the pitch.
Yeah. Well, it might be like Ericsson and get a pacemaker.
They're gonna have to seriously check him.
Yeah, they most probably will. So yeah, prayers out to him and his family. Just a quick recap of the European football just gone last week. So Newcastle lost 2-1 to AC Milan. They ended up bottom of their Champions League group. I said they wouldn't qualify.
To be fair, though, if that penalty never got given against them,
yeah, I know
that was
harsh.
That was wrong.
Yeah, the PSG one, it was very harsh. But that's the thing is, if you only win one game in your group, the chance of you qualifying are pretty slim. So they finished bottom of their group on 5 points. I think the experience might do them well. I think they would have wanted to do a little bit better, and I think they obviously going into the final group game with a chance to qualify, they would have wanted to, but they had the European nights for, 3 months? Not bad at all. Man United losing at home to Bayern Munich, ended up bottom of their group. It's funny because when this group was drawn, I think there were kind of muted celebrations by the Man United fans saying they'll qualify. And to be fair, they should have. They should have finished second behind Bayern Munich.
To be fair, I said it was a tricky group. When they first got the group in another group I was saying...
it wouldn't be in our group because I was going to say I'll pull out the receipts.
Yeah. But I could direct you to the people. John can vouch. And I said it was a tricky group. Just based on who Galatasaray had signed, the players they signed, I said, that's not an easy game. Obviously, we knew what Bayern was going to do.
Yeah.
And Copenhagen.
To be fair, Copenhagen were the shock. Copenhagen finished second. So, yeah. It's mad, isn't it? You never know what happens with football, man. And then Arsenal and Manchester City top their groups. So they go into the last 16 draw, which takes place tomorrow. And then just round off the Conference League and the Europa League. So Liverpool, West Ham, Brighton, Rangers, Villa, they all top their groups, which will help with the coefficiency. So if you're not aware, there are extra spaces in next season's Champions League for the 2 countries that top the coefficiency. And basically the coefficiency is based on how well teams from your nation do in European competitions. So with Man United and Newcastle exiting early, it's kind of damaged the coefficiency points a little bit. But with the teams in the Europa League and Conference League winning their groups, it kind of boosts it a little bit. So essentially we want the British teams to go as far as possible in Europe to potentially get a 5th spot from the league in the Champions League next season. Let's have a quick preview of next week's fixtures. So the main game, as I mentioned earlier, Liverpool v Arsenal at Anfield on Saturday. Confident going into that game, Adrian?
You know what happens at Anfield, Might do a challenge, rile the fans up.
Do you think Arteta's playing will never walk alone on a training pitch again?
He might have to do a lot more than that.
Has he scrapped that?
I think he's going to scrap that. I think he might just play the video back of the game, But no, seriously, like I said, I'm not confident because we know what it's like at Anfield. We've seen Champions League nights at Anfield, Premier League nights at Anfield, FA Cup nights at Anfield, and we've seen them turn a deficit round and win, so, and with the fans as the 12th man, like, that's hard. So that's why I was saying earlier, a draw is an excellent, take a draw, and a win is like a super result, so that's not a straightforward game. You look at how we're dominating the game, but I think there's still a lot of learning in us, in our team to go. So it's not going to be straightforward. So like I said, I take a draw all day.
Yeah. What about you, Isaac? What do you think?
If we play like we did today, we're getting battered.
Yeah, I was thinking that on the drive here.
If we play like we did today, I think it's a comfortable 2-1, 3-1 Arsenal.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
Yeah, hopefully we can ride it. So just on that fixture, let's do a little combined Arsenal and Liverpool 11. And the way we could do this, do a 4-3-3 formation. And we're doing this as if everyone was fit and available to be selected.
Okay.
So even if they're injured now,
They're fit.
they're fit.
Okay.
So we might as well start from defense because there ain't no way Raya or Ramsdale are starting ahead of Alex.
Like you said, skip the goalkeeper.
Skip the goalkeeper.
Of course,
they are
but
Because what are we talking about?
But for the listeners and the viewers, goalkeeper,
Alisson.
I'm sure you'd agree with that one.
Alisson.
Okay.
Right back.
I'm going to go Trent.
I like that.
Yeah, I think
Smart
that's
guy.
full house.
Trent. Easy.
First centre back.
Saliba.
Van Dijk. How's Van
But
Dijk
Van
not
Dijk
the
plays
best?
left side.
It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. This is the first centre back.
Okay,
I've
so
just gone with the first
no,
centre
no,
back.
okay.
I've gone
So,
with
okay,
the
if-
first centre back.
okay, if we say
being
the
Van Dijk.
Okay.
Van Dijk's the best centre back of all of them.
and then second centre back we say Saliba. So we're happy with Van Dijk and
Saliba.
Saliba as the centre backs.
I was looking at it.
I'm
who
just
plays
saying,
left side.
Konate starts ahead of Saliba for the French team. So
Like, not being funny, Calvin Phillips still gets picked for England and Harry Maguire plays. Like,
Yeah,
All right,
he got you there.
all right,
He got you there. He
all
got
right,
you there.
all right, you got me.
Left back.
Robbo,
Bobby Robertson, innit?
I'm not
Robbo,
going to lie, Robinson.
all day.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
I think now we're gonna get contentious. Are we just doing?
so that's one Arsenal
DM.
player so far out of 5 positions.
Yeah. Are we just doing midfield 3 or are we going DM? Are we doing specifics? How do you want to do this?
DM and 2 centre mids.
Yeah.
Okay, DM two.
It has to be Rice,
Rice at the DM.
hands down.
I'm happy with Rice.
Centre mids.
Centre mids.
This is where it gets. No, it's not really
So
technical to be fair.
I'm just gonna say Thiago has to be one of them.
What? No.
A
way.
fully fit Thiago.
Fully fit. Remember?
We've seen fully fit Thiago. It's been all right. It hasn't been anything spectacular.
So you're telling me you think because the second one for me,
We're not talking about buying Thiago,
no,
We're not talking
no.
about buying Thiago. We're talking about Liverpool Thiago.
Man's acting like Liverpool Thiago wasn't doing bits.
I'm just
Been all
saying, my second midfielder would be Odegaard. Are you trying to tell me that you've got 2 centre midfielders better than Thiago?
Yeah.
Who's the second one?
Yeah,
And you know, actually, for
No, no,
me,
no,
when-
no, just answer the question.
One second. No, I'll take that back. But no, actually, when I was thinking on the way up, I was saying Rice and Odegaard, and I would go with McAllister
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
because I think McAllister's being played out of position. Sorry,
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
not seeing the best of him. Because actually, I felt he had a better World Cup than Fernandes.
Yeah, I'd say that.
So
But I'd still put Thiago.
like I said, Thiago at Bayern and Thiago at Liverpool are two different.
But
He
you've
plays
seen,
nice passes, but nah.
you've seen the glimpse.
Okay, so I'm going with you. Thiago and Odegaard. You're saying Odegaard and
McAllister.
McAllister. Okay, so Odegaard's in,
Yeah, Odegaard's in.
Rice is in.
Rice is in.
Rice is in, and on a majority rules, Thiago's in. It's 2-1.
I hear that.
Yeah?
I don't agree, but
But we'll know. We'll know that
Yeah.
McAllister was your
I
choice.
think you got to
Okay.
put this one out to
So
the vote.
when
Yeah,
we
definitely.
we done this in the group chat already, and we gave grace for Saka. Right? Are we giving grace for Saka here?
No. Saka
left
over
wing?
Salah.
No. So in terms of moving him to
No.
accommodate him.
No.
Oh,
I don't
nah,
agree with
nah,
that. I don't
nah,
agree
nah.
with that.
All right, cool.
No,
So right wing, Salah. I tried to throw you a bone.
Like the goalkeeper. Let's just move on.
Yeah, I tried to throw you a bone.
No. We're playing it like that's why I said when he mentioned VVD, I'm saying VVD don't play right. Van Dijk don't play right.
Okay,
So that's
all right.
So I'm basing it on.
Fine. Fair enough.
Yeah, all right,
So that's
cool.
how I
All right.
based it on. So no, it's got to be
Saliba,
Salah.
Van Dijk. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Salah. Okay.
Yep.
So up top has to be
I'll-
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus,
yeah. I
Has
would
to be.
say, yeah.
Jesus or Havertz?
No, Jesus.
Jesus. No
yeah.
Nketiah?
Bro.
Eddie.
No. Eddie needs to be at Ipswich. or
Okay, so
something,
here's
but
where it's really techie. Who's going left wing?
it's got to be Martinelli.
Over Diaz.
100% over Diaz.
So if you look at this season and numbers, they're both not doing what they can do in it.
But if we're looking at performances, I think Martinelli has been performing. Like, he just hasn't been getting the numbers. He's been terrorising the fullback. He's been getting inside and making the runs inside. Unfortunately, he hasn't got the goals to represent or to reflect the performances, should I say. But for me, I see Diaz. What do I see? I don't see anything else from Diaz. I don't see him really terrorising the fullbacks, making a pass, nothing.
Forgot about Diogo Jota up top.
Nah.
No.
He's a better goal threat than Jesus.
Yeah, he's arguably.
He's a better goal threat.
No, but
I'm just saying we forgot about it.
Yeah, but this is like kind of the thing that kind of frustrates me with football at times at the moment, because we're using numbers to justify it over actual ability.
It's not a clear.
Numbers will be ruling out loads of guys every day of the week. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah, let him have Martinelli. It's fine. Cool. No, it's interesting. Yeah.
You're giving him Martinelli over Diaz.
yes, you can't.
We're definitely putting this one up for vote still.
We can do that. We can do that.
Yeah.
Right, let's go to the other fixtures taking place. So on, excuse me, on Thursday you've got Crystal Palace v Brighton. They call it a derby. I have no idea why they call it a derby, but it is.
Distance, ain't it?
Yes. Aston Villa are playing Sheffield United, so Aston Villa could maintain. I think Aston Villa could go top. Yeah, Aston Villa could go top if results go their way. So if they win that game, they go top regardless.
Wow.
So yeah, interesting. I'm sure that hasn't happened for a while. And then we've got West Ham v Manchester United at the Olympic Stadium.
I see a West
Another
Ham
tricky
win, you
one
know.
for Man United. Fulham v Burnley. Luton, Newcastle. Manchester City, Brentford postponed because Manchester City are playing in the Club World Cup. Got Nottingham Forest v Bournemouth. Tottenham v Everton, who said it should be a good game. And we've got Wolves v Chelsea on Boxing Day to round off round 18 fixtures. So yeah, some festive football to look forward to. And as I mentioned at the top, it's been announced today that the World Club Cup has been reformatted. So as we know, at the minute, it's taking place. What usually happens is those from like the lesser confederations, is that what they are? Yeah, confederations. They kind of do knockouts to play either the European champions or the South American champions in the semi-final, go through to the final. It's now going to be 32 teams.
So a full World Cup.
32 teams played across 29 days.
What?
And the first one's taking place in June 2025. So from the 15th of June to the 13th of July. Crazy.
Wait, so what?
There will be 12 representatives from Europe. And those who have been confirmed are Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Man City as the last 3 previous European Cup winners.
Wow.
So wait, hold on. So how does this work then? So the World Cup is
the following year. So it's taking place in America. So I kind of see them.
And the Euros is when? It'll be 2 years after the World Cup, right? So
no, so
every
the
2 years.
Euros is 24. So this tournament's taking place in 25. So it's the gap. So the year that you
So
normally have off.
what about international qualifiers?
No, but
No,
it's
it's
July,
in the summer. It's in the summer.
June to July.
It's June to July.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah, like
So
it is.
So there's
We're
still
seeing
no
all the-
break. There's still no break for these
Well,
clubs.
no, but you know what's going to happen? City's just going to put out their youngsters.
Yeah, and rightly so. Like it's crazy.
There's still no break for these teams. And
They're just putting
we've
out their
seen all the
youngsters.
injuries. They're not going to put out the youngsters the whole way through. It's a Club World Cup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
you,
you're right.
don't need a 32 team.
That's crazy,
World Cup.
man.
Yeah.
But what they have said, there'll be a mandatory 3-day break between games, so you can't play. Yeah, I mean that's
Wow.
why it takes so long.
It's just, do you know what? The love of money,
Yeah.
honestly. The
Strangle
love
every
of
bit of
money.
it out.
Yo, it's killing people, man.
So yeah, that got announced today. There'll be more details around that as time goes on. I'm sure.
I know Pep
but
and whoever's going
yeah.
to be in charge at Real Madrid's not going to be happy about that. But
yeah, I wouldn't be happy too, but FIFA want the money in it. So yeah, do you want to say thanks to Adrian for stepping in today?
yeah,
Thank you, sir.
Done really well. Might
Thanks for
have
having
to
me.
make this a regular appearance.
Yes.
If
We
not,
were talking about bringing on regular, co-hosts.
Yeah.
And there are a few we have in mind. And I think Mr. Locksmith has put in a good performance.
Throws ringing the hat, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's
Throwing
put
his
in a
hat in
good
the ring, I should
performance.
say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the end of today's show. As I said at the start, please like, subscribe, comment, all appreciated. Helps the algorithm and all that good stuff. So until next week, peace.
Peace.
Whoop.